Welcome back to the Friar Talk podcasting YouTube channel. Today, we're going to be talking about someone that recently got a lot of praise. When you kind of start looking into his numbers, and you're like, hey, this guy has put together an amazing season. That guy is Nabil Crismatt. Now, purpose of this episode today is to talk about who the Padres are throwing out right now as they're starting pitching, and why Nabil's a much better option than like the majority of these guys. Now, one of the reasons why I think this season is in such a bad spot, especially this late, even if it's even in a close wild card race, is that Blake Snell and Chris Paddock are now both out. And right now, we just saw last night, Vince Velasquez was the pitcher, did not have a good outing. We've seen that Jake Arrieta, he's had a horrible year. He's in the rotation too. And also for like the past 2 or 3 months, Yu Darvish battling a back injury, the change in the rules of what substances are allowed, it seems to has really affected him. I think it's a combination of both. And now we have 3 guys in the rotation and a bullpen spot, and those 3 guys are not getting it done. It's a really bad group if you're throwing that out there as your starters. You should be at a disadvantage with those 3 guys right now with the numbers that they've put up recently. You're basically at a disadvantage every single night in terms of your starting pitcher compared to the opponent. And yet Nabil Crismatt's out here having a spectacular season. He has a sub-3 ERA. I believe it was his last 15 starts. AJ Cassavell tweets out, his last 15 starts, he's had under a 2 ERA. And up until Thursday against the Giants, he hadn't won. The Padres hadn't won any of those games. So you're just throwing him in garbage innings, yet he's putting up fantastic numbers. And at this point, I think he's a much better option than especially Arrieta and especially Vince Velasquez. So, Chase, what do you think, man? Do you think that they should allow Nabil to be a starter? And if they did that, where do you kind of think his number? What do you think his numbers would look like?
Well, he originally used to be a starter, going back to his minor league career, and before he even touched being an NBA player, he was a starter, I believe, in Latin America, and he looked pretty solid as a starter. I saw one of the outings where he went 8+ innings or 8 innings. I don't know if he finished the 9th, but he can go the distance, and every time he goes out there and pitches, he pitches pretty efficiently. There's not an inning where you look at, wow, this guy's going to take 30 pitches to get out of this inning. He usually does it pretty quickly. He may not strike out everybody. He may not be the flashiest pitcher, but he gets his stuff done. And, we kind of just throw him out there and, like you said, in crappy innings just to kind of eat up innings in a wasted game. And, he does great during them. We wouldn't be anywhere we're at right now without Nabil Crismatt, because if he didn't eat those innings and we didn't have him to eat those innings, we would be in a lot crappier situation than we are right now. It would be unbelievably bad for the bullpen. And you know what? And at that point, you got to reward the guy. So he definitely does deserve to start, because we got, how many games do we have left?
Oh, I think we have 17, 18, something like that.
Yeah.
I think it might be a little bit less.
Maybe.
I think it's 16. I think we got 16 games left.
Okay.
Or actually, no, 15.
Right.
We have 15 games left. We can't afford to just be like, you know what, bullpen for that 4th or 5th day. You can't do that. You have to go and throw out your best player. That's going to give you a best chance to win. Just like Tingler said it himself. He thinks he has the guys to do it. Nabil Crismatt deserves a start. He's the guy to do it. And he will probably give us the best start out of Darvish, out of Arrieta, out of Velasquez, out of even a bullpen day. Let him go, the 5-6 innings. The man can do it. Reward him for what he's done for the entire season.
Yeah, I think he's been pitching some phenomenal innings. He was never a guy that was going to light up the radar gun, but what he does have is he's got really good stuff. Over the offseason, we had Ryan come on, and he would talk about Nabil Crismatt, and I said this in the live stream, but we're a little more pessimistic about it just because, he wasn't a flamethrower. We never seen his stuff, but he's certainly come in and he's held his own so far this year. So Obviously, we all love to see that. Like I mentioned in the live stream, he's also a really good guy. So, the success story of Nabil Crismatt's huge. He's this year's version of Pierce Johnson, and it's very exciting. Now, regarding the start, I think I have enough confidence in him to be able to go at least 2 times through the lineup. We saw yesterday, I think he might have went 2 times through the lineup against the Cardinals, and he had a phenomenal outing. And I don't expect him to go out there and throw 6, 7 shutout innings. But what I would like is if he were to make a start, which I don't know why that hasn't even been considered yet, considering the state of our starting rotation. We turned to Jake Arrieta and Vince Velasquez before we turned to a guy with a sub-3 ERA throwing some really good innings for us. And that's definitely looking like it was a mistake because Vince Velasquez, first 3 batters, 3 runs, hold it down for a while for a little bit, and then gives up another bomb. And that's just not what the Padres can afford right now. The Padres are a team where if they get down early, we've seen lately that it's very hard for them to come back. This isn't the 2020 Padres or the first half 2021 Padres. These are the Padres that struggle to come back in that just have a hard time facing adversity right now. Struggle to come back in those games. And so being able to give your lineup a chance to actually feel like they're in the game by throwing someone like Crismatt, I think it's an advantage. I think if you throw him 4 innings, hopefully he's able to get through that lineup twice. I think that'd be phenomenal for us considering the state of our rotation right now.
So I think that's one of the biggest questions is, okay, if you do go out there and you throw Nabil Crismatt, is he really going to be able to give you starter level innings? I think he does a better job of that than Arrieta could do. I think he does a better job than Velasquez has done. He went 4 innings last night. I mean, I think Nabil could easily go 4. We've seen him go 3 multiple times. I feel like at least once this year he's gone 4, I want to say. But I think he's done a fantastic job when he's come in. And he doesn't have to go out there and pitch perfect 4 innings. He can go out there, pitch. Maybe he pitches even 5. Because like you were saying, Chase, he went 8 innings before. We've seen that he can throw a lot of pitches. He's a former starter. Now you'd have to give him, a number of days off, which maybe that's what they're cautious about. But I would rather see Nabil go out there and throw 5 innings than Arrieta. Same thing about Velasquez. I'd rather have them start a bullpen day than putting Nabil in that bullpen day and giving Nabil a true start. So I think it gives him a better advantage. I think you look at where this team's at, we're going to see over the next 2 days are going to mean a lot for this race, but they are in such a tough spot. And Nabil is a guy that's on the roster that's pitched a lot better than these other guys that they're going to just because of, I don't really know why. I mean, I guess they just don't have arms. I guess that's really what it is. But Velasquez and Arrieta, that's a terrible those are 2 terrible options this late in the season when you're a game back or game and a half back now, whatever it is. That's not what you want to be out there doing. That's a very, very bad option. So I'm all for it. I think it gives them the best chance to win. I think it's a guy that we've seen has looked a lot better. So if you're really trying to win these games, throwing Nabil Crismatt gives you a much better opportunity than both Arrieta and Velasquez. But anything else you guys want to add before we take off out of here?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think Crismatt, if you're gonna give anyone another start, in the unfortunate event that somebody goes down with another IL stint, something like that happens, I don't think we can really afford to see Vince Velasquez again. I just can't really grasp having a pitcher out there with 15 games left, down a game and a half to the Cardinals, one of the hottest teams in baseball right now. I can't really grasp having a guy whose best pitch is a 94-mile-per-hour fastball. I mean, we can't do that. I think, Nabil Crismatt has better stuff. I think it gives us a better opportunity to hang in the game. Someone whose name has been brought up more lately, Mackenzie Gore. I don't know what's going on there. It's very frustrating that they have more faith in someone who came into the year or who came into the team with a 7 ERA over what was one of the top pitching prospects in baseball. I believe he was the top pitching prospect in baseball. So I think that's a guy. Both of those guys are going to be 2 guys that we're going to be monitoring over these next 15 games.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. So we'll see. Do they rock with Nabil? I think that gives them the best start. Who knows if this is even something they're considering, but I definitely think just from a number standpoint, he gives you the best opportunity and from also what he's throwing. I mean, hitters, and there's some lineups too, if you've looked at some of his outings, there are definitely teams that hit him really well, but there's also teams that are built in different ways where like that style pitcher, teams really struggle against him. So you see where it's at. I just think that throwing him is a much better option, and we've seen him come out there and throw 3-inning stints that look fantastic. So I'd much rather than do that. We'll see if it happens though. So that's gonna do it for today. Chase and Isaac are gonna post an episode tomorrow after the Cardinals game, and then probably they'll do one on Monday as well, kind of 2 segments, and then we'll be going live on Tuesday again to start that series and preview it. So that's gonna do it for today. Thank you all for listening, and we'll talk back to you very, very soon.